80. On today's episode, we're finally back in the NFL, y'all. Oh, wait, we were in the NFL last week. What am I talking about? But we're back in divisions. That's what I meant to say. We're back in divisions, right? We're going with the AFC East today. The Bills, Patriots, Jets, and Dolphins. A lot has gone on through free agency, so we'll, reevaluate each team and how they stand after the first week of free agency. Who will be the best team in this division? How does this division stack up against the rest of the AFC? Plus, we got some March Madness. The brackets have been set, but we have the first four starts tomorrow, so we'll preview those games. I think tomorrow or Wednesday, so we'll preview those games. Maybe we'll throw in a little bit some more March Madness previews. But with all that being said, stay tuned. Let's break down the division. We've been away at this for a week, so let's get back into it. I think we still have some great timing. We can get all these divisions done by the time the draft rolls around next month in April. But AFC East, let's start. Let's pull up good old handy-dandy ESPN. Let's take a look at these divisions. Now, who do we think is going to be the best team in this division come next season, Lawrence?
Well, I'll start off with saying I think the Dolphins will take a major regression. I don't think we're going to see them at 11-6 anymore, especially after losing that offensive guard, to Carolina. Whoop, whoop. The fact that he allowed one sack all season, that's going to be missed. A guy that's not getting Tua hit. And, Tua's always one hit away from throwing up gang signs, so... I think the Dolphins take a regression. I still think the Bills come out on top in this division. I just think there's something about this little run the Bills are on that it's kind of untouchable about winning this division. That is, I think the only one that can compete, though, is the Jets. And obviously that's only if A-Rod actually stays healthy. If he actually plays, that should be the better word used, if he actually does play. There's no telling that he'll actually play in the NFL this year, but the Jets signed Tyron Smith. They're going to sign Bakhtiari. They've added some other guys on the offense. So basically they knew they were going to go all in on offensive line. The Jets actually get to get a chance to get Corey Davis back. If they would want to, because he decided he wants to come back from being retired. They put Alan Lazard on the trade block, so they're willing to get rid of him. C.J. Mosley signed a new contract to make it a little bit cheaper for the team so they can go out and get players. Honestly, if I'm the Jets, you kind of have to be riding the wave of, we want to believe that Aaron Rodgers is going to finish the season, but we need a backup plan in case he doesn't. Because, Zach Wilson's just not going to be it. It's just never going to happen. It's been too many chances, and it hasn't looked good. So unless they figure that part out, it's going to be a huge question mark for them. I think they signed Tyrod Taylor. I wouldn't put my eggs in Tyrod Taylor's basket, but he can win you a few games here and there. The other one, New England, I would keep them at the bottom with the Dolphins, just because they're going to have – New England's completely going to rebuild and retool. This isn't a last to first kind of scenario for this team, because they're going to have a rookie quarterback more than likely, as it seems. And they still haven't figured out the part of, okay, we're going to get a rookie quarterback, and now we also have to get them some weapons. So they're going to have to address the weapons part in the second round, which yes, there'll be enough talent, but it won't be, a guaranteed first day, run into the field starter, give me 1,000 yards, rookie season, almost guaranteed guy. There's only going to be max 2 or 3 at that position. They're going to have to pick the right one. And then they haven't done anything remotely amazing in terms of free agency and signing players. No offensive line, no wide receivers. I mean, there's just a lot of question marks with the New England Patriots, and I think they know that they believe they had the coach for their future. They're going to let him get for 2 to 3 years to build it. Let him do his thing, but don't believe they're going to go from last to first.
Yeah, they're gonna have to live the life of every other NFL fan for a couple of years. Actually having a down year, even though they had almost 2 decades of sustained success. So it's definitely a different look for them. They're gonna be at the bottom. Moving to the top, though, I think I got the Bills as well. But the thing is, Diggs, it's another year, same storyline with Diggs. You've seen his tweets. It's pretty obvious he's probably trying to push his way out. Where he's going to go, I don't know. His buddy Gabe Davis, don't even know if it's his real buddy, but Gabe Davis, he left. So it's just him, Shakir. They did sign. I forgot who the Bills signed. They did sign one receiver, didn't they? It's left my mind who they signed. But they signed someone in free agency. They got Von Miller to restructure his contract. So
they got Curtis Samuel.
That's who it was. Curtis Samuel from the Commanders. So I guess that's a good pickup. As I guess it's somewhat of a replacement, but we'll see. So yeah, I get the Bills being at the top, and then the other two teams, Jets and Dolphins, they're just going to fight for second and third. I still don't see them as a real threat. But the bigger threat of the two, I would agree with you, is the Jets, just because they got Aaron Rodgers, Hall of Fame quarterback, and Tua, he's one hit away from being retired from playing. So, and half their team is gone because they were in salary cap hell. I mean, from Howard to their D tackle to their line just got stolen by all the other teams because they had cap space. They're in a real money problem situation right now. So I don't know how they're going to recover. It's probably going to take them a few years of drafting kids, and the Dolphins love to trade for players. So their draft picks are kind of low right now. So we'll just have to see how the rest of free agency plays out. But right now, I probably got them third. But let's go team by team. Let's start with the team on top, the Bills. How do you think they do next season in terms of, being able to compete with the rest of the NFL?
I like they do every year. I think they'll go through their highs and low points. I really don't think this team's going to struggle all that bad. To be quite honest with you, unless something happens to Josh Allen, the team's not going to struggle. They're going to win their games. They're going to blow out mid-level opponents. They're going to struggle on primetime games because they don't know how to win on primetime. Or if they do, they don't know how to cover the spreads. I think the biggest thing for this team is they just need a season in which the entire team does not get hurt. They need a season in which, maybe that is finding a new strength and conditioning coach or, bettering equipment or, training. You got to do something because every single season you get, I think it's about week 14, and you literally just see straight across the Bills' offense and defense, third and fourth stringers just all over the roster. And you just wonder how they still keep doing it, how they still keep winning games, and how they stay in it. It's just like, just think what they could be if they didn't get injured every single season at the same time this season, especially their defense. Their defense gets brutalized by the end of the season.
Yeah, I agree. It's just year after year, towards the end, players start going down. Von Miller, it's a good example of that. Offensive linemen go down. I think the bigger question is, though, and I said it earlier, Diggs. Will Diggs be on this roster opening day? Will he still be on the roster? Will they be able to work things out? Or is this a year that he's actually going to get shipped away?
Until they find a replacement for him, he's going to stay there. They're not going to go into this season without a number one, and he's obviously a number one. They're not going to go into this season without a number one. So unless they can trade Diggs away for something of great value, which can you get a first-round pick for Stephon Diggs? Probably not. Not with all the drama and diva-ness you get. So that doesn't really entertain that idea to try to get an offensive player, unless you package Diggs, which like a second overall pick or the second round pick. I'll give you Diggs in a second overall or second round pick for your top 15 first round pick. Maybe you can get something going there, but then you're still throwing it into the wind of hoping that this rookie will be number one wide receiver worthy. Honestly, if I'm the Bills, I don't know why their name isn't in the hat a little bit more for like Mike Williams or Michael Gallup. I know Michael Gallup's not that great, but he's probably a lot better than Andy Isabella. Just putting it out there. But Mike Evans, I feel like would be really good for like a Josh Allen, especially because all you got to do is just throw it up there and hope Mike Evans goes and gets it. Mike Evans, wouldn't have to run those crazy inner working routes because Shakir and Curtis Samuel will do all that for him. He'll strictly just be get down the field and go up for it.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe some of that's due to cap restrictions. Maybe they don't have too much cap, so they can't go after those guys. But even then, those guys should be on the cheap because they've been cut. So I don't know. It's a little weird right there. But
Mike Williams should definitely be on the cheap and coming off that injury. Mike Williams is definitely on a 1 year, max 2 year kind of prove it deal. He can't get much more than that. I mean, he couldn't stay healthy. And I don't know. There's just something about the Bills. Like you're not even trying to trade Diggs or anything. Like just trade him away if you gotta. There's other guys around the league you can trade Diggs for who have marquee talent, and you might be able to get something back as well. You don't even need a number one wide receiver. If you just get a great number two, that'll be fine. And you just bring in a rookie, and then that rookie hopefully is a good number two. So you just have two good number twos that feel like number ones because the quarterback's super good.
Hey, I couldn't agree more right there. Let's move on to the Dolphins, next team up in the AFC East. Like I said earlier, their team pretty much just picked apart due to their salary cap situation. We both kind of have the Dolphins as that third team. Is there any realistic way that they can actually compete and actually win a playoff game? I know Tua has to get paid coming up, so that's going to further complicate things. Is this a make or break year for the Dolphins?
I think it is a make or break year for the Dolphins. I also think the Dolphins are going to struggle really bad this year. They have really good talents at certain positions on defense. I just think they're going to really miss Christian Wilkins, especially in that front end. I think that's going to be a tremendous loss. Someone to really pressure the quarterback from the inside. I don't think they're going to talk about it enough, how much that's going to be missed. But this team is all about being fast. That's literally what this team's about. That's why they won a 3-4. They run a 3-4 so they can be fast as heck on the defensive side. Well, they also lost the white guy with the long blonde hair. I can't remember his name. He's a linebacker. He's gone. He went and got paid. He was instrumental in multiple of their games last year, basically doing anything and everything to get the job done. And then you look at that defense. Yeah, it looks like a good defense, but can it stand up? Like if I lose Bradley Chubb, how much importance is it? How much am I going to recover from that? My corners are amazing and my secondary is awesome, but how long can a secondary and two great corners hold up if my defensive line can't get there in 5-6 seconds and my corners have to run around the back for 6 to 7 seconds every single play? Look at the defensive. Look at the offensive line. Armstead can't stay healthy through a whole season. Your guards are less than ideal compared to last year.
Yeah.
And then their ideal is, okay, well, Jonnu Smith was really good for the Falcons. Let's bring him in here and be our number one tight end. So we're just going to be speed, all about speed. Yeah, the speed is awesome and everything, but speed also needs a little bit of time to get open down the field. And the offensive line doesn't seem like it's going to be able to hold up long enough to get you open down the field. So everything's just going to be about yak catches. And if you get stuck in a 3rd and long, you're pretty much going to be doomed every time.
Yeah, because they're just going to play cover 2, play everything underneath. And you're just going to have to hope that your offensive line can block for a 3-step, a 5-step drop. And we saw last year, for the most part, they couldn't. So if you lose even more guys on your offensive line, then that's going to be a little struggle for you, unless they can find some replacements via the draft, which, like I said, they don't. They typically, trade their draft picks away. So we'll see. The defense, they kind of plugged the holes, but I still think they're leaking a little bit of water. Howard, you replaced with Kendall Fuller.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of on the back end of his career. I forget how long he's been in the NFL, probably 8 or 9 years. It's been a while, so we'll see if he holds up. The durability is a question there. They did get Jordan Poyer from the Bills, which I liked, on a 1-year deal. So that's a good pickup right there. See if he can prove it. See if he still has it. But
Kendall Fuller is only 29.
Well, 29 is a corner. I mean, that's the back half. That's the same as a receiver. Once you hit 27, 28, you're on the back half of your career. So
you want to get in the ring with Stephon Gilmore right
now? Me and my fat self, no. that would not be good TV right there. But we'll have to see, guys. I think this is a team that could be sneaky good. They definitely plugged the holes, but I still think they're leaking water. So we'll just have to see. Moving on, we got the Jets. Now, Aaron Rodgers is due to come back this year, or I should say next season. Allegedly, but he's out there trying to play VP. So we'll just have to see about all that, even though there's probably very little chance that his candidate wins. But we'll just see. He's doing his thing, like always. But in regards to the rest of the team, though, like you said, they picked up Tyron Smith, reworked some contracts. So with all that being said, if Aaron Rodgers...
Moses.
And they took Morgan Moses from the Commanders. With all that being said, is this going to be the year the Jets win the division, or is they just still 1 year away? Which we thought they were 1 year away last year.
I think they're going to fake us out most of the season. I think they're going to be around the ability to win the division, and it's going to be speculated every week and week in and week out. But I think losing the guy, Huff, I think Brian Huff, or is it Brandon Huff? It's B Huff. I know it's B Huff.
It's Huff.
Him going to the Eagles is going to be big time loss for them. Mm-hmm. I'm still waiting to see what they do, because I'm not sold with that D line, what it's going to do. Quentin Williams is going to do his thing, but he's from the interior. It's hard to get sacks. And it's hard to get real good pressures from the interior consistently, especially if you're him, because you're going to get double teamed. Huff got the ability to enjoy running wide out to the left or right off the edge to try to weave in, weave out, spin move, cut in. He could do those things because the double team is coming in the middle, so he could do things on the outside. I guess Jermaine Johnson is meant to do something this year, but I think that this team, honesty, we don't know for sure, but it's pretty known that Bakhtiari is probably going to be here. So that's another part of their O-line completed. If you look at the wide receiver room, you can easily, tackle one more wide receiver in the draft. Just draft one more, see what you can get. I think the biggest thing they do is edge rush. The secondary was great last year. Do I think it's going to be as good as it was last year? Probably not. But the secondary is still going to be one of the better ones in the league. I think they just probably needed, solidify safety, but sometimes safety isn't what makes or breaks you. It's more so the other things around it. And, you got a good D line that can fix a mediocre safety. Chuck Clark's fine. I can't really tell you who Tony Adams is. I don't know if that makes me a casual or not, but
same here.
My dad's a Jets fan. I don't know who Tony Adams is. He's probably not their end-all, be-all solution. They did do a good job, though, in keeping Zerline, the kicker, one more year. He's super clutch. So Xavier Gibson returning kicks for you. That's awesome. But I think they just need – I also do believe it might sound crazy. I think they need another running back. There's nothing wrong with Breece Hall. I just think that this team, and you look at the people behind Breece Hall, there's no punch to the gut. There's no big kind of a running back, big bulky one. I think they wanted to do something with Dalvin Cook last year. It just didn't work out. But if you can draft a running back in like the third round, it's a little bit bigger, or fourth round, that's a little bit bigger, and it can just pound it right through the middle. I think you should. That way you add a little bit more years to your good running back Breece Hall's life. Don't make him go. He likes to be free and open down the field. He likes to catch balls out the backfield. He likes to run through tackles. He likes to run to the outside of the tackles. Breece Hall doesn't want to run through the middle. He's a delicate boy.
Yeah, I agree with you right there. They got some on the depth chart. You see they got some running backs, but like you said, if they can get a solid running back, third, fourth, go ahead and do that. I think they addressed their biggest issue, which is offensive line. They're probably going to pick up, like you said, one more offensive lineman. So I think the biggest question here is, is Rodgers going to play? How well is he going to play? And can they get to the quarterback? I think those are the two biggest things we need to look at when we talk about the Jets. Last but not least, actually they are least because they're going to be god-awful next year. New England Patriots, after about, 18, 19 years of greatness, here comes the tanking. And they will be tanking for quite a while. Now, they did make some moves. Their biggest move was probably, Jacoby Brissett, re-signed Henry, got KJ Osborne, re-signed Kendrick Bourne. So they got some pieces, but they are, still quite a ways away from actually being competitive. Now, with this third pick, I think this is the biggest thing we got to look at when it comes to the Patriots. With that third pick, do they go quarterback or do they get enticed with, let's say, the Vikings? It's pretty well known that the Vikings want to move up. The two logical choices are the Commanders and the Patriots, 2 and 3. Do the Patriots take the bait? Do they take that trade from the Vikings?
No, I wouldn't. So I think the Patriots wait until the day of the draft. I think they wait until the Commanders read their draft pick. If everything goes the way it does, Drake May, Caleb Williams, first 2 picked overall. I think it's going to happen because the Commanders traded away
Sam Howell.
Sam Howell. They traded him, and the Bears obviously traded away Justin Fields. Both those guys are going after quarterbacks. It did the Patriots, and you're sitting there third, and those two go. I mean, no offense, but who's the next one? Who's the next best one on the board?
Jaden Daniels.
I'm not sold on Daniels. I think his stats to get him the Heisman are a little bit inflated. He did get to beat up, crappy teams and score 11 touchdowns against those bad teams. So his stats are a little inflated. I think he is too much of if it's not there, let me just gunsling it down the field with my best wide receivers I have, because I had two of the best wide receivers in the draft. If you're going to New England, you ain't getting a good wide receiver. That's just what it is. It is what it is. Your wide receivers are not that amazing. So if that is the case, it might be beneficial to you to trade back and then load up a little bit more. Let the Vikings take the bait. Let the Vikings screw themselves. Because who's going to be the third overall quarterback taken? It's either going to be Daniels,
JJ.
Was it McCarthy?
Yeah.
Or McCarthy?
McCarthy.
But my opinion, I think Bo Nix and I think Penix are better than both of them. And you could probably get both of those guys in the middle the first round. Because after the beginning stages, after everyone's done with the little beginning part, everyone's going to go to edge rush, everyone's going to go to O-line, and everyone's going to go to wide receiver. And you're going to let, I get the Vikings up. They give me my first round pick. They give me a first round pick next year, and they give me like a third round pick. Okay, I'm looking at that. Okay, I can get JJ McCarthy. I can get Bo Nix. I can get Penix. What is it? What do the Vikings draft? Like the 10th, 11th pick? I don't know what they are.
I think Vikings are like 12 or something like that.
You get the 12th pick. You get to pick them up. Then I'm going to get my second round pick, and then my third round pick, and another third round pick. Next year, I'll get another first round pick. I can throw on anything, an O-lineman. Just you can fix things. Because this is going to be a rebuild. It's not a quick fix. So you want the most bang for your buck, which is probably going to be, I need some guys cheap, which is going to be draft.
Yep.
And I'm going to have to fix things that way. Yeah, you're going to be taking the Vikings pick, but you could pull a Carolina Panther, and the Vikings could just be bad with whoever they pick. And so you're going to get a whole new ball game. Like, you're picking 2 top 10 picks again, there's always that chance. So I mean, if it was me, I would just flush it. But that's only if the cards are played the way they are. But you don't know what the cards are going to play. But if I was me, I would trade away to the Vikings, get Bo Nix or Penix later on. That way I can try to get as many. I just think wide receivers is the thing they need. And it's just crazy how they're not even attacking the position very hard so far in this offseason. Yeah,
I agree with you. I think they got traded away. I think there's even a good chance if they did draft a quarterback at 3 that they would sit a year. I think those are the reports that are coming out that Mayo will probably sit whoever he gets at 3rd, whether that's Drake May or whether that's Daniels or whoever drops to 3. They would probably sit a year. If not a year, maybe they'll sit the first half of the year. Jacoby Brissett's proven vet. Seen last year.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. Saw last year. He kind of mentored Sam Howell. Then when Sam Howell got beat to hell, he said, "Hey, I got the rest of the way." Until he got hurt. Then Sam went back out there and got beat to hell again. So, Patriots, they're going to be pretty bad. Lot of holes to plug. It's definitely going to be a process. They got some pieces. You got Stevenson. You got Christian Gonzalez, the corner you took last year. He's pretty good. You got Jabril Peppers. You got some pieces, but it's just not enough to compete in this division. So unfortunately, if you're a Patriots fan, you got to suffer for the next 2-3 years, and then you should be competitive. But I'm trading that pick, whether it's the Vikings or maybe a surprise team that maybe they want to go out and get a quarterback. But it's looking more or less like the Vikings are going to move up into that top 3, 4, 5 spot. So we'll see how everything goes in a couple weeks. But I think that's the end of the teams of the AFC East. In terms of being, I guess, this division being competitive, how do they rank in the AFC? We already said that. Yeah, we said the AFC North is probably first, and second is probably the AFC West. So this division is probably third.
AFC South is 100% the worst.
I could not agree more with you there.
They have so many. For me, we'll talk about the AFC South next time, but there's so many question marks with it. AFC South could be second best, but it's most likely going to be fourth.
Yes, and we'll talk about that next episode. But they got a ways to go, so more on that later. But coming up next, you guys, we have some March Madness to go over. The first four, those games start tomorrow. We will preview those coming up next. Hopefully you guys fill out your brackets. If not, don't worry. You have until noon on Thursday. So, take some time, do some research. We'll give you some tips and tricks, I guess, on who to pick, who do we think is going to go all the way. We'll probably do most of that on Wednesday, but I figured we go with the first four in just to see, what you guys can make some more money on, tomorrow, or I guess you guys will see this on Tuesday and Wednesday. Get you guys a little bit of money so you can, spend that all during the tournament. Hopefully, you make some big bucks. I always make some good money during tournament season. It's pretty easy, not too hard. Let's start with the first game on Tuesday. We got Wagner versus Howard. I don't know if you caught that game. Howard played Saturday. What conference? They had the MEAC? Is that their conference, right?
And I think it's the MEAC. I don't know.
They played Delaware State, and Howard has like an 8th year senior on the team. I don't know how that's possible, but that's just crazy. But we got two 16 seed teams going against each other. 6:40 p.m. True TV. Who we got? Lawrence. Howard is favored by 3.5 points.
I would be willing to take that. Mainly because Wagner getting there was a fun ride. You took him through the conference. What conference are they in? I forget the conference they're in. They're in the MAAC, Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. Now, who did they beat to get there? I think I remember. They took down the likes of Quinnipiac, St. Peter's. Is this the right conference? I don't know. Oh, no. Yeah, it's the right conference. So they took out the likes of like the Quinnipiac group and all that. They've ended up playing Merrimack in the final. How do I feel about it? Yeah, I'd take Howard. If you're telling me they got a 5th year senior, or 8th year senior, I would just take him. I mean, this is kind of one of those games that, like, you can do what you want with it. The over might be more enticing for it because these teams might be able to score a little bit more. But I kind of wouldn't, take too many chances with it. Both these teams are pretty bad, so you don't know what you're going to get. Both of these guys are coming in here with barely, one 16 and 16, so even 500. The other one is one game above 500. This is one that you do what you want with, kind of jive.
Yeah, probably just fill it out. Maybe even just live bet this one. Just fill it out. I would probably lean on Howard just because I saw them play. They can score. Love to shoot the three. Pretty disciplined. Wagner, I haven't seen them play, so I can't say anything good or bad about them. So I'd probably lean Howard in this one. Moving on, Colorado State and Virginia. Virginia lost. They lost to NC State. What was that, Friday? Was it Friday night or Saturday? I think it was Friday.
Because he couldn't hit free throws.
Because can't hit free throws. Went to overtime off a crazy bank three. Tie the game up. So they're feeling a little bit down on themselves. Is UVA going home early, as usual?
Yes, they're going home early because they can't play offense.
This is a pretty consistent trend with UVA, but this year especially, they just can't score the damn ball. So
they can't play offense. I'll just put it like this. They can't play offense. I think Boston College should have beaten UVA, but they gave them all they could. Colorado State beat Boston College earlier in the season. The Mountain West had like 6 teams make it, which was absolutely insane. But I think it's more insane that like Boise State has to play in, just like Colorado State does. No idea why. No, there's just no rhyme or reason for it. But it also, this conference got a lot of slack. Like Utah State is 27-6, 14-4 in the conference. This is one of the better conferences in the country, and they're only, I think it was an 8 seed. I think they're an 8 seed. So Utah State got screwed. Boise State got screwed. Clemson got screwed because they had to play New Mexico in the first round. And Colorado State got screwed because they had to play in to get in. But don't let that fool you. If you can get that even, where it says right there where it opened at minus 1.5, I don't know if you'll ever be able to get that again. But if you're able to get anything close to, even money or anything, go all in, balls to the wall. Colorado State, UVA is bad. I personally, when they showed the receipts up at the top and they showed who's the first 4 in or the last 4 in, the first 4 out, there's no reason UVA belongs in the first 4 in the last 4 in. There is no reason they belong in there. Indiana State had a better resume. Pittsburgh, I thought, had a better resume. There's teams that didn't even make the last 4 out, like Seton Hall. I mean, that was probably the best conference, and they only got 3 bids. Seton Hall didn't make it. Providence didn't make it. They didn't even get a chance to even, have their names put up in glory, like nothing. But I don't think UVA belongs here at all. They play the most boring offense possible. They say they just play outstanding defense because that's all they can do, because they can't shoot the ball. I would tell everyone to take the under in this too, but 120. That's a dangerous number to be playing with, especially for teams that have to fight for their life. I would just avoid totals altogether because 120 seems really low, but then you're also playing UVA, and UVA might give it their all, and Colorado State scores 62, 68, and UVA ends up scoring 40. So UVA might get you even when you don't think they're going to get you.
I couldn't agree more. I would fade UVA with all my might. Just can't trust them, guys. Can't trust them. Moving on, the last 2 games on Wednesday. Got ahead of myself. Wednesday, March 20th. Grambling State versus Montana State. 640. True TV as well. Who do we got in this one?
I'm going to go the Grambling Tigers, only because it's their first time making the NCAA tournament. I think they're going to have a lot more to play for because of that. A lot more wind behind their sails. Nothing against Montana State. Mm-hmm. And I do see that they're like a minus 3.5 favorite. Montana State, they took care of business in their conference tournament to make it here, but they weren't very impressive all season. Not as much so as Grambling was all season, but except Grambling was impressive all season and then also took care of business in their conference tournament.
I guess I lean Grambling, but I haven't watched either of these teams play, so plus money is always good, so I would probably take the plus money.
You gotta roll Grambling only because they've never made it to the bowl before. There's a lot of wind behind sails. There's a lot of hype on that train when it's your first time for school history.
First time school history. Shout out to them. That's a great accomplishment. Last game, we got Colorado versus Boise State. 9-10 True TV. Who do we have in this one?
So, on this day, I might even take just because they're favorites, I might take Grambling with Colorado as a parlay this day. Because I think Colorado gets the job done. I think Boise State got snubbed here. I don't think they deserve to even have to be playing in the at all. But okay. Colorado was like on a 9-game win streak or an 8-game win streak before they lost in the conference tournament final to Oregon. And the fact that Buffalo has to play the way in after coming into the end of the season on a 9-game win streak. But you're gonna also tell me that Texas A&M who was pretty much crap the whole season, gets in as an 8 seed or 9 seed, and
Yep.
Mississippi State gets in from the SEC as an 8 seed. They weren't very good towards the end of the season. There's so many teams that didn't belong where they were, and the fact that Colorado has to play their way in after going on fire towards the end of the season. Give me Colorado to. I'm not going to say upset because it's not an upset. They're the favorite, but in my opinion, Boise State should be the favorite. But give me Colorado because they're just a little bit more hot towards the end of the season. And Boise State cooled off. They lost their last game of the season, and they lost, I think it was like the second round, their conference tournament. I think they did lose to the eventual winners of the tournament. But regardless, I'm going to take Colorado because they did make it to their conference final. And they just came up a little short.
Yeah, I'm about to go Colorado on this one. They were on a 9-game win streak. They were playing well. Watched a couple of their games. They tend to be later in the day. So, yeah, they've been playing well. They were ranked at some point. I think they were ranked at some point in AP poll. Yeah, they've been playing well. They're hot, even though they lost in the Pac-12 final. That's just one game. They're still pretty hot. So I would probably lean that and take them to make the big dance starting on Thursday. So I'm going Colorado as well. That's the first 4 end games. And we'll preview the rest of the tournament on Wednesday. But would you like to point out any snubs? Like, is there any notable snubs that should have made this the NCAA tournament?
Oh, there's a lot. I do mean there's a lot of snubs. I'll get into it right now. Let me Google it real quick because I know who I have. I want to see who else everyone has. Off the bat, who I can think of, I'm not gonna lie. I think the A10 should have had one more team make it. That is a little bit of hometown biasy, but I thought the A10 should have had a little bit more love. I think Providence should have gotten in. I have no idea how Providence wasn't even in the last 4 in. It wasn't even in the first 4 out. I think a team like Seton Hall or St. John's, this is all Big East. All 3 of those schools should at least had some love about making it in. I think Pitt did everything they were supposed to get in and still didn't get in. Let me see. Who am I missing here? Indiana State, 100%. Don't understand how they did not get in. Also, I think the building of the brackets as well was atrocious.
I agree.
I think in the women's and the men's, I think it's just absolutely atrocious. When the women's side, they literally put all the good teams in the East. They have Iowa, LSU. I forgot who else. I just had it in my head. I think it was like Notre Dame. They had all the best schools on one side.
UCLA.
In one conference for the women. The fact that the women's tournament, it's just stupid. You could tell they purposely did it. They wanted Iowa and LSU right out the gate, settle it early. We want the drama. South Carolina gets no competition on that side at all. Because Notre Dame, they gave them Notre Dame. Notre Dame's missing they only played 6 girls in the conference final. They did win it, but they're so decimated with injuries that they're not going to be much competition. And you look around the rest of the women's tournament, none of the other brackets, there is no tough league. They put all the good teams in one top corner, and they said duke it out. That's pretty much what they said. For the men's tournament, it's the same freaking thing. Certain teams get a cakewalk through it, like UConn. UConn gets one tough opponent pretty much the whole time. Actually, no, I take that back. UConn is in the second worst conference or second worst division. You got UConn, Iowa State, Illinois, and Auburn. They all 4 won their conference tournaments. And then you're going to put them all in the same bracket. That's just dumb. There's no love in spreading it around. And if you look onto the other side, I think it's go down on the right-hand side. You got Purdue, who literally has the easiest route to the final in all of history. There's no tough opponent throughout the whole thing. Tennessee lost first round in their conference tournament. We don't know how good Tennessee is. They're a big red flag question mark. But then you look at the components they all have. Gonzaga is probably the worst Gonzaga team we've seen in like 15 years. There's a great chance McNeese State upsets Gonzaga, and there's also a great chance Sanford upsets Kansas. Because Kansas is missing their two best players. So unfortunately, and then you're gonna have a McNeese State versus Sanford round of 32. So then one of them is going to make it to the round of 16 to face Purdue, because I don't think Purdue's going to have a problem with their first round matchup. I don't think Purdue's going to have a problem with Utah State or TCU. So then basically Purdue gets the cakewalk all the way to playing either Creighton, Tennessee, South Carolina, or Texas. Maybe Oregon slips in there. I doubt it. But Purdue has no opponent. Like it's just weak. You look to the left, like a team like Clemson. I didn't think Clemson deserved to be a 6 seed, but then also I don't think Dayton deserves to be a 7 seed. I think Dayton's overrated as hell. They lost to all 3 Virginia A10 schools.
This is true.
So I don't think they deserve to be a 7 seed. But then you look at that one as well. It's like, dude, that's a cakewalk for Arizona. It's a cakewalk for North Carolina. I think, is it North Carolina in that conference? I'm pretty sure it's North Carolina.
At the top, yeah.
It's a cakewalk for both of them because Alabama can't play on the road. Alabama's going to probably beat Charleston just because they're a little bit more athletic. And then they're going to probably end up playing Grand Canyon, in my opinion. And I think Grand Canyon can take them out just because Grand Canyon can put up a lot of points. And Alabama can't play defense. So Grand Canyon can. They have one of the best defenders. So you're telling me that North Carolina is going to probably roll through Michigan State, because I think that's going to take over Mississippi State. I don't think Mississippi State deserves an 8 seed. I just think they did a horrible job of putting my opinion, 4 of the best teams in the top left corner. I just think that's so foolish. Illinois is red hot. Iowa State's red hot. Auburn's red hot. And UConn's red hot. Let's just put them all in the top left. We'll just screw them all over, and we're going to hope for some madness. But then all the other number 1s and 2s get kind of, I don't want to say easy routes, but all the big boys and tough guys have to fight off in that one East Conference. It's just, I also think it's crazy how everyone's just picking UConn to like walk all over to walk all over that East Conference. If I'm at UConn, I'm scared of Auburn. I am scared of Illinois. I am 100% scared of Iowa State. After what Iowa State did to Houston, I don't think there's any team in the country who's not low-key afraid, because Houston's been like the number 2 team in the country or number 1 team in the country for like 5 weeks, 6 weeks now, and they absolutely obliterated them. I feel bad for Longwood because Longwood's going to get it shoved in.
Yeah, it won't be too pretty for Longwood. We do have one of our buddies is a Longwood alum. So we send our best wishes to him, because what he's going to see Friday night will not be pretty. So shout out to the Wood, but I think your dance will be very short. But we'll preview this on Wednesday. So maybe we'll have a change of heart by Wednesday. Maybe we will be persuaded to maybe have, a 1 losing to a 16 seed. I think it's very slim, but who knows? He might be able to convince us. That's it for today's episode. Lawrence, do you have anything else you want to say before we head on out? Any other updates? Basketball, football?
I think the biggest shout out we should give is to our George Mason women's team for actually making a conference tournament. Our men's team didn't make any tournaments. I'm pretty confident it's because they turned down the invitation to the CBI based on some of the teams I saw playing in the CBI.
You have to pay for the CBI too, right? Don't you have to pay to go or something?
I think they should make. I think George Mason should be all about paying to go. It was a good season. You should probably want to finish it a little better than what it kind of ended on. I thought it was a kind of amazing that the women's team for George Mason was sitting at Eagle Bank Arena live on camera, and they showed them on ESPN just for them not to get a bid, and they kind of did show them like first and front row center. It was kind of a little depressing knowing that those girls literally just sitting there awkwardly after it was all over, thinking to themselves it's all over. But I think the women's team, we're gonna get to play Penn State first round. They're hosting, obviously. I think there's a good chance that in the WBI or WBIT, George Mason can make a little bit of noise. As long as no one finds out our George Mason weakness, then I think we should be all right.
What's that weakness?
We shouldn't tell everyone. We shouldn't tell everyone out loud. Maybe there's a part of the Cupid Shuffle that they don't know how to do.
Oh yeah, that's probably the best way to put it. We were there firsthand. We had the courtside seats. We definitely we saw everything we needed to know. But hey, shout out to them making the WBIT. That's pretty good for them. They got some seniors on that team, so it's good for them to go out big. They definitely have a shot. For me, nothing else for me. Shout out to Bam hitting his first buzzer beater for 3 yesterday versus the Pistons. Kyrie Irving hit a crazy, I guess, a running hook shot off of one leg yesterday versus the Nuggets. That was a great game. Was not expecting that, but that was a great shot. So we got most teams have about 14, 15 games. Play-in starts April 16th. So we got about a month left of the NBA before we get to the playoffs. So some exciting stuff. These games really do count. So hopefully we keep seeing some good games. But other than that, I got nothing else. So I guess we'll wrap it up. MTL Sports Podcast, episode 80. And we're out. Peace.